Good afternoon, class. In today's video, what I'd like to do is to do an introduction on stoichiometry, and in the next video, I'll do an example problem that deals with stoichiometry. But first, I want to talk about what stoichiometry entails, essentially, and that is it's changing units from one unit to another. And so what I thought I'd do is I'd start with an example that people probably wonder, especially when they hear about concepts such as the mole. So the question is, if I had a mole of pennies, how much money would I have in dollars? And so I thought that was an interesting question to kind of tackle, so I decided to go for it. So we start with a mole of pennies, and I use the cents symbol for that, just so I don't have to write out the word pennies. In every mole, there are 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd objects in that mole. So that means there are 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd pennies in a mole of pennies. There are 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd molecules of air in a mole of air. So on and so forth. But that's all well and good. That allows me to cancel out the moles over here, because moles over moles is 1. Just like 2 divided by 2 is still 1. 3 divided by 3 is still 1. Moles divided by moles, still 1. But I do need to get rid of the cents part. So I had one more conversion factor, which was $0.01 is 1 cent. So now that I've done that, I found that my answer is, if I had a mole of pennies, I would have 6.02 times 10 to the 21st dollars. And of course, that's in scientific notation, and some of you might say, okay, well, that's kind of hard to picture. So I thought I'd bring it a little bit more into focus about how unbelievably large this amount of money is. Okay, so as of December 2020, so for those of you in the future, welcome to the video. The world debt, that means all the money that every country owes to each other and to themselves in the entire world, is $355 trillion. Trillion with a T. That in scientific notation, that is 3.55 times 10 to the 14th dollars. Again, that seems like a lot, especially as of this recording. Our U.S. national debt is about $17 trillion. So you could say, okay, this is a fairly large, significant portion of money. But a mole is about 7 orders of magnitude more than that. So basically, to put it in another way, if I took all the debt in the entire world and I had a mole of pennies, I would be able to, with less than 1,000% of all of that entire stack of pennies, I could pay off the entire world's debt with it. That's how many pennies are in a mole. So one of the things that I did want to kind of get across to you also is that the concept of the mole is basically to get the amount, to bring into like our everyday life, our everyday world, the elements that make up everything around us. So if I took a mole of air, what would that look like? What if I took a mole of water? What would that look like? And the reason we even have this mole, or this whole concept, is because we want to have, scientists, before we had tools that were able to actually look and move individual atoms, before we could do that, we needed a way to be able to organize and sort the atoms that we actually had. And so this is the way that we did it. We invented a concept called the mole, and then we used that to actually help organize and sort everything in chemistry that we have today. The only thing that we've done with these tools that can actually manipulate individual atoms is to simply organize them better and have a few more insights in, as you go down into the more fine details of those atoms themselves. So that's how to deal with stoichiometry. In the next video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over an example from the actual homework. So good luck in your studies, and I'll see you next time.